Okay, welcome back folks for another round of Maya. It's been a while since I've done one of these, but unfortunately I've been very preoccupied lately. But I do have some free time to go ahead and make another video. So this one will probably be another 3D modeling walkthrough of this aerosol spray can. So let's get started. So first thing I'm going to want to do is bring in the reference, obviously. And this isn't necessarily the best reference because it has all these watermarks on it, but it was probably the only one I could find as far as how I could lay it out on a, on a scale. So I'll just kind of use this as a reference point for now, but I wouldn't suggest using it as anything other than that. Okay, so let me go back to my perspective view. Let's get into our cylinder, drag that out, and then drag this up. Press 5 for the shaded view. And then looking at it now, we have the presets. So let's go into our channel box layer editor, inputs. Let's go into our subdivision axes, and we're going to change that to, let's say, 40 to smooth that out. And then usually I turn off the subdivision caps. Let's go to our front view, and then we're just going to bring this down so we can level it and make this not really exactly, but almost to where it matches up correctly. And it doesn't have to be perfect by any means as far as matching up with a reference, but something along this line. So just kind of eyeball it, and that looks good. Okay, let me just turn this graph off. Grid off, sorry. There we go. Okay, so from here on, now it's just going to be mostly extruding, which is fairly easy. So go ahead and do a shift, hold, right click, extrude face. And then we're just going to do an offset inward. So we'll go in about, I don't know, 0.2. And then we're going to go up. So press G again to repeat the command. Go to your front view. And then for thickness, go ahead and just bring this all the way up to the top, to about 16.2. That works. And exit. Okay, so pretty much the basis of the spray can's fairly done from that point on. Now we just have to go ahead and add in some of the details. Now if you see on the bottom here, very hard edge. We want to smooth that out. So let's select these edges right here, and then we're going to bevel them. These will smooth them out, just give them a little bit more round shape to them. For an offset, I would usually probably go about 0.2 or 0.3. That's a little too little. 0.3, 0.4. That's getting a little too rounded. So I think 0.3 we'll stick with. Okay. And now you can see that it's starting to kind of level out. But we still have to do the bottom as well, because obviously that needs some rounding off, because right now it looks smooth. It looks rounded at the top part, but at the bottom it's lacking. So same thing, shift, hold, right click, extrude face. And then we're going to do an offset inward to the same thing, about 0.2. And then we're going to go ahead, select this edge right here at the bottom, and do the same thing. Let's go 0.2, and that looks pretty good. Then if you want, you can go ahead and inward this up a bit, or if you want, you can also extrude the face, do another offset, and then bring it up. But for now, we'll just leave it at that, because we're not really going to focus much on the bottom anyway. Okay, so let's go ahead and add some subdivisions on here. Before I do, let me just kind of show you how my little shortcuts. Hold down Control, right click, Edge Ring Utilities to Edge Ring Split. And then there you go, it does it for you. And then press G to repeat the actions. There you go. Okay, front view. Then we'll have to kind of match this up. But this time, instead of going inward on the extrude, we're going to do we're going to go out. So offset about 0.2 or 0.3, kind of look at our reference here, and then oops, that didn't work. Thickness, it's a little too far out, so we might have to go inward again. Change this to 2, there we go. And then let's do an extrude again, front view, thickness to about 0.5, there you go. Delete our history, go back to our front view, our perspective view. And of course the same thing, we have this hard line edge, rounded top, and now we have to bevel it. But in order for us to bevel it, if we were to just do it right here, it won't select it. And if we were to just delete this face and then select all this, it still won't bevel it because you still have to do more extrudes within the mesh in order for that to work. It will not just do it when there's no other faces or anything that can join to it. So let's go and undo all that. So now for our reference on the top part of the can, this is where it gets a little tricky. Now obviously with this one I'm looking at right here, let's go to our side view. Let me just hide this. We can see that we have some edges right here, and then it indents and then starts to form up, and then it comes into this sort of half oval shape sort of look. And then same thing, just more extrudes inward, and then you're extruding up and around and creating these sort of round loops. So, and then I do have a different reference photo, and this one is probably a little bit more, a little bit more accurate of it, or not accurate, but just a little bit more detailed as far as what I could do, and it gives me a better look at it. So I might be going off of this reference instead of this one, but I will definitely use that to my advantage when necessary. So let me just hide that, show back our object. So now for this one, we're going to go and do another extrude, and instead we're going to do an offset inward to about maybe 0.4, depending on how far you want to go. G, thickness, go down to about 0.4 or 5. That's as much as I would probably go. 0.5 that's it. Okay, same thing, extrude, offset, and then we're going to go inward because we have to create the underlying edge around underneath this ring right here. So it looks pretty good. It looks pretty much straight in the middle, so I'll go 1.5, and then I'm going to extrude from here and then just bring it up a bit to about 0.3. So now obviously we're not going to see this, but you'll understand once we progress. So again, extrude, but this time offset outward to about 1, and then hit the G again, thickness, go up to about 0.4. It's probably as much as I would go, and there you go. Okay, so now we can go ahead and take these edges, bevel 0.3, and then same thing with this. I just do a little bevel on this one, maybe 0.2 or 0.1 is fine. Okay, and now we'll go ahead and just look at our reference one more time and see what we got. So now we have this. Let me just get rid of this. I don't know how I can get rid of it. Oops. Now I'm going to attempt to round this off, and then I'm going to extrude more and get that oval shape. So now extrude, offset, outward, and then we're going to bring it up without doing thickness. So we got about that. Same thing. Bring it up. Let's go to our front view, just kind of look at it. Doesn't have to match up with the reference, but it's kind of what we're going with. extrude, bring it up, thickness, offset, so about like right there. So now we have the basic shape of it. Let's go back, maybe bring some of these outward. Give it more round. Same thing with this bottom piece. Let's select this. Select the edge first, and then you're going to go press down, hold Control, right click, two vertices. And now let's go back to our front view. Just kind of bring those out a little bit more. There we go. So I guess just to alleviate or just to prevent what I did, you can just extrude and offset only about 0.1 or 2 when you first go ahead and make this oval shape. Okay. And then this will be more about just, you know, beveling and adding more edge loops around it, just to give it a more rounded shape. Take these two edges right here where they meet up, and then you can extrude or bevel those 0.2 or 0.3. Then we can add in an edge loop over here to maintain that shape. So it's just a matter of playing around with it and making sure that nothing gets into nothing, you know, looks funny. Not sure why it's not showing up. Oh, it's going underneath it. I don't know. Fix that later. Okay, so once we have pretty much this shape of it down, just continue eyeballing it and then reshaping. And you're shaping it from the middle point, not from this. Otherwise, it's going to look funny. And then we'll just take these two lines, verts, and we'll just bring those up. Let's look at our reference one more time. Just kind of get a good look of it. So it sort of blends in, sort of flat, sort of has a flat surface when it gets to the top part. So that's probably as much as we'll go. So let me just delete the history. Look at my reference. And it seems like we have something underneath this loop right here. So we're going to do the same thing, what we did at the bottom. Extrude. Offset. About 1. Extrude thickness. Bring it up to about 0.2. Extrude again. Offset outward. 0.5. That sounds good. Extrude from here. Bring it up to about 0.3. And then this is just more extruding and beveling. Point 0.2, 0.3. Kind of look at our reference here. We have to go a little bit more. So 0.5. And then just a matter of adding more edge loops onto it. Select these, or well, before we can do that, still have to make sure we're kind of matching up with what we have here. Select these verts, front side. Just a little bit. Just it's a lot of tweaking that you're going to kind of you'll notice, and then you'll say, I want to redo that. Let's see, I might just redo half of what I just did anyway because it didn't even look right. Okay. Oops. And a lot of this is really just, it's all just on eye, and you just have to eyeball it. And you have to kind of determine from your creative perspective on how you think it should look versus how the reference is. So to bring those in a little more, because it's sort of creating this jaggedy edge. So I'm just going to smooth that out. That looks alright. And then I think this bottom portion needs to come on in a little bit more. So there we go. We have something like that. Okay. So now we get to almost the fun part where we're going to start beveling out this top piece where you press on and the spray comes out. Okay, so this one again is going to be you're taking from the top piece and you're extruding up through an offset inward, and then of course you're extruding upward. So I'll create sort of this aspect. So I guess I could get rid of this now because I don't think I need it anymore. And then I'm going to start focusing on here, this part. So extrude, inward, offset, go in. Then we're going to go do another extrude, thickness, downward. So we're going to go not as far, so maybe 0.2. And then this is where you can go in and round this off. If only it will let me. Edge loop. Come on. Sometimes Maya doesn't cooperate. Select the top edge. Select the bottom. Bevel. And then same thing for the inner bevel. 0.2. Except this one has more of a round off, so this one's definitely going to be a little bit more than 0.2. So let's redo that. Bevel 0.5. So has more of a round off to it. So that looks fine for now. And then again, even when we're done, even when I finish with this, you still have to go and do some, fixing here and there, just little details, because there's only so much I can show until, you have a pretty clear sense of what to do. Okay, so now, oops, we're still in, oh, we're fine. Okay, so now I'm going to select this face, and then I'm going to go ahead and create this other edge. So now, offset inward to about maybe 0.4, 0.3, probably somewhere around there. Thickness, bring it up. And there we go. Oops, I'm not sure what I went through. Let's try that again. Lost the number I was looking to set it at. So 0.3 for an offset. Thickness, go up to about 0.3. Offset, thickness, down 0.1. And then I'm going to bring this a little inward, about 0.1. And then I'm going to extrude from here. There we go. That's what I like. That's way better. So let's go about 0.1. Okay. So now when I go to bevel this, it will look more beveled downward than it does coming from a straight edge up. And then just take this edge right here, bevel, I would say 0.3. Just kind of eyeballing it right now. Put an edge loop all in the middle and then just bring it out. And that gives it more of a rounder shape. Same thing with this as I did initially. Bring it out. Gives it more of a round shape. Okay. So now the hard part is just shaping this out, which is, I wouldn't say it's tricky, but it is a little tedious. So let's go to our front view and just kind of see how it is. Central pivot to bring back your gizmo right here. I would do a freeze transformation for the heck of it. There we go. I think at this point I'm just going to leave it at this. I think I'm making this a little bit harder than it needs to be. So then for the circle, what you can do is you make a cutout. I'll even show you side view. Let's make ourselves a polygon cylinder. But before we do, let me just hide this. Polygon cylinder. Shape that up. That's going to be the little hole. 0. And then you go from this reference right here and then you just drag it along its axis. And then you can extrude right here, go back to your side view, so extrude from the middle. Delete it. Oops, not delete. Extrude it one more time, thickness. There you go. So now you have your hole, and then you have the edge around it. And then what you can do is you can bring this up, shrink it down, side view, go all the way to the top of the piece right here. Focus on it. Bring this right around here. Continue to shuffle that in. And then you take your interactive split tool or split polygon tool and you shape around this circle. This is a little bit too hard of an edge for some inexplicable reason. So I'll have to go into my split interactive tool and take down the tolerance to about 0.1. And then I'm going to try my best to go around it. Hide selection. Select this edge and then hold control, right click, 2 vertices, and then I'll average those out, and then I'll just go ahead and eyeball each one of these and make sure that it's centered and to the best of my ability circular. Wrong one. Merge that with this one. Now let's try it. Just get it to where you can at least have a circular shape, and then you can extrude from these. Offset. Going another extrude thickness to create that. It's not perfectly circular, but that's not something you can fix on your own. Below that, make sure it's a little rounded. There you go. So that's pretty much the general gist of it. I'm going to go ahead and fix this myself. I'm not even going to bore you with that. So, but that's pretty much it as far as modeling this aerosol can. For the next video, I will go ahead and unwrap it, and then we'll go ahead and bring it into Photoshop, texture it, and then so on and so forth. So, hope you enjoyed, and yes, it was a little long, and if I did happen to go a little too fast, or if I didn't explain enough, just obviously rewatch it, and so on and so forth. Okay, so enjoy.